EasyCars offers you the ability to connect your Xero system for synchronization of data to and from both platforms. EasyCars is used to record your dealership's daily transactions related to vehicles you're purchasing and selling, whereas Xero is used to record all of your other daily business expenditure relating to your business in general. By integrating EasyCars to Xero, you'll have a complete solution that handles all of your everyday dealership, inventory management, and accounting. Data is shared back and forth between the two systems every time a sync button is pressed. The syncing process is a two-way street, meaning that in many cases you have the choice between which system you enter a transaction into, whilst knowing that the program will copy it across into the other for you. Certain types of transactions must be entered into one program rather than the other, and certain types of transactions give you the option of which program you prefer to enter it through. For example, vehicle acquisitions, sales, and floor plans must be raised in EasyCars, and general business expenses must be raised in Xero. But transactions such as acquisition payments, sale receipts, or expense payments can be entered via either of the two programs. This opens up the potential to use Xero's automatic bank feed reconciling feature to automatically download transactions from your bank statement and even automatically match them against the outstanding purchase order or invoice that EasyCars has pushed across to Xero. This will result in the payment showing in both Xero and EasyCars for you. Connecting your EasyCars to your Xero file can be done in 3 easy steps. Step 1. Authenticating your Xero organization with EasyCars. Step 2. Mapping the accounts that EasyCars will use when sending data to your Xero file. Step 3. Starting the synchronization process. You then synchronize EasyCars with Xero on a regular basis to keep Xero up to date. In EasyCars, click into your Integration menu, followed by Xero. Click the blue Connect to Xero button. If you're not already logged into your Xero account, you'll be asked to log in. Once logged in, you'll be requested to allow EasyCars access to your organization. Select the organization you wish to use, then press Allow Access. Once you've allowed access, you'll be returned to EasyCars and the screen will show you are now connected to Xero. And that's it. Your Xero file is now connected to EasyCars and you're ready to map your accounts. Mapping the accounts is the initial process that must be completed, which EasyCars will use when sending data to your Xero file. For EasyCars to synchronize transactions with your Xero system, it needs to know which accounts your Xero organization uses for different types of transactions. This is configured via the Xero mapping page. To access the mapping page, select Xero from the Integration menu, then click on Xero Mapping. Before you start the mapping process, first consider your conversion date, if one is required at all. Your conversion date is the date from which EasyCars transactions will start syncing to Xero. Understanding the effects of setting a conversion date is important. When syncing with Xero, the conversion date can be used to specify which transactions EasyCars should not send to Xero. It does this by checking the transaction date of entries you've made in EasyCars and simply not including them in the sync across to Xero if they are dated prior to the set conversion date. It's only possible to set a conversion date after connecting a Xero file to EasyCars. In most cases, it's better to set this conversion date before performing your first sync to Xero. Any transactions dated prior to this conversion date will be ignored when a sync is performed. Do note that for vehicles acquired before the conversion date, any transaction relating to that vehicle will never sync across to Xero, even if those transactions occur after the conversion date. In these cases, the vehicle's acquisition, sale, any expenses, payments, and receipts relating to it must all be recorded into Xero manually, even if they occur well after the conversion date has passed. This is because the purchase of the vehicle will not have been recorded in Xero, so transactions that depend on the purchase also cannot be included. The next section of the mapping screen to consider is bank accounts. Brand new Xero organizations do not contain a valid bank account. Before mapping your accounts, for each bank account you use in EasyCars, you'll need to create a corresponding bank account in Xero. In EasyCars, select Bank Accounts from the Account menu and make sure you've set up all the accounts you'll be using. In Xero, select Chart of Accounts from the Accounting menu. For each bank account you've created in EasyCars, you'll need to click Add Bank Account, add the bank account details, select the appropriate bank, type in the account name, give the account a unique account code, select the type of account and enter the account details. And when you've finished adding or updating the bank accounts, each account should have a code when you view the Xero chart of accounts. EasyCars is able to create default accounts in your Xero chart of accounts if required. This ensures that Xero contains a suitable account for each type of transaction that will be synced from EasyCars to Xero. To automatically create the default EasyCars accounts and add them to your chart of accounts in Xero, click the Generate Defaults button. Whilst it is strongly recommended that you use and create the EasyCars default accounts, it is not required if you have an account that is very confident in completing this mapping process for you. When asked if you wish to use the default accounts created, click OK to automatically select the newly created default accounts. If you've updated the Xero chart of accounts in any way, such as creating new accounts or changing account codes, click Refresh to update the EasyCars mapping screen with those new details. Once the default accounts have been created, you can click Use Defaults to automatically populate the mapping screen with the default accounts. The mapping screen consists of several more sections, each containing a list of transaction type for which you must select the corresponding account or tax type from your Xero chart of accounts. For each transaction type, select the account in Xero that is to be used when EasyCars synchronizes with Xero. If you've created and used the EasyCars default accounts, most transactions will be mapped to a default account with the exception of the bank accounts and the tax types. Begin by completing the section on bank accounts. Select the Xero bank account corresponding to each of your EasyCars bank accounts. For each tax rate, select the correct Xero tax rate. Xero allows you to set up tracking categories to see how different areas of your business are performing. Once a tracking category is set up, you can review and filter reports in Xero by the tracking category and the category option to see the performance of different areas of your business. If you have chosen to set up tracking categories in your Xero file, as well as having separate yard locations in your EasyCars system, you can select the appropriate tracking category for each of your yards here. To enable tracking categories, tick Enable Tracking Category. To automatically create a yard tracking category in Xero, click Create Default. A yard tracking category will be created, with an option created in Xero for each of your car yards in EasyCars. If a tracking category for yards has already been created manually in Xero, select the Xero tracking category from the drop-down box. For each yard, select the manually created option that corresponds to that yard. When you're happy with your mapping, click Save Changes. Once you've saved the mapping of the Xero accounts and tax rates that EasyCars will use, you're ready to synchronize your transactions. To get started with the synchronization process, select Xero, then Sync Now from the Integration menu. Select a date to sync to. Transactions dated prior to and including this date are synced across to Xero. Click the Sync Now button. Once the sync process is started, the status will change to syncing. Below the status will be a periodic status update of the process, displaying the number of records synchronized. When the sync has finished, a summary will appear detailing how many of the different items were sent across to your Xero, and how many failed to send across. If there are no errors, then your Xero organization has successfully received all of your transaction information from EasyCars. If there are errors during a sync, refer to the Common Sync Errors page in our help manual for explanations of errors and solutions for fixing the problems. Note that the Xero Sync screen also allows you to import your Xero contact list into EasyCars. To do this, click the Import Contacts button. After importing contacts, review the new contacts to make sure that the contact type is correct and to add any missing information.